The title of this movie is Flatliners 2017. Sit back and enjoy watching. What do people think about when they are on the verge of death? What happens in the brain during that time? As a doctor, Courtney, in order to clarify this problem, she decided to do an experiment on herself by having two companions inject her with anesthesia, then lower her body temperature to below 30 degrees. Finally, she remembers her heart with trembling thoughts. Let the body temporarily enter a state of suspended animation. But they have to give her first aid within a minute. Otherwise, Courtney will fall into brain death. Her heart stops beating. Her soul was transformed into a massless neutrino, able to penetrate any material structure in the world, and can reach anywhere in the universe at extremely fast speeds. As she walked through the city, meanwhile, her teammates grow anxious. They try various methods but can't wake up Courtney. Fortunately, Rhea arrives in time. Experienced, he immediately performs first aid on Courtney. Then Courtney's heart rate returns to normal. Her soul is also pulled back into her body, since she experienced an out-of-body experience. Courtney's brain feels as if it's been remodeled. She has an extraordinary memory, without any sheet music. She can play a piano piece from 10 years ago with ease based on memory alone, facing various medical questions posed by professors. Her brain is like a walking computer. She gives the correct answers as quickly as possible. People are surprised by this, one after another casting envious looks. Jamie can't sit still anymore. He immediately expresses that he too wants to conduct a flatlining experiment. Only Rhea opposes this. He thinks there is a price to be paid for such risky experiments, as Ray suspected. When Courtney returns home, something strange happens. She thinks she sees something moving in the bathtub, and the sudden sight makes her scream in shock. However, in the blink of an eye, everything seems normal. She assumes it's due to stress. She doesn't take it too hard. The next day, Jamie, who couldn't wait, also starts the experiment. His soul appears on a deserted road, with a girl enjoying the wind and freedom. But it doesn't last. As his companions pull him back to life, the girl starts to disappear from his world. Jamie, who wakes up, is still unsatisfied. The next day, Jamie also has extraordinary abilities. He can diagnose patients' complex conditions with ease. This feeling makes him very proud. Seeing Jamie's pride, Marlo can't help herself either. She also wants to conduct an experiment. But just as they leave, Jamie sees the girl from his vision. Her gaze is unsettling, making Jamie feel a chill down his spine. But in a blink, she disappears. The next experiment is Marlo's. Her greatest desire in life is to ride horses and become a renowned surgeon. Academic success is also her dream. But just as she's enjoying the thrill of success, a vision of a lifeless body suddenly appears. She's surrounded by dark memories. 1 minute has elapsed. The others begin to give her first aid. But this time, there seems to be an accident. Marlo's soul lingers in a suspended world due to the delayed rescue. A corpse appears before her eyes, and that's her fear. Fortunately, after relentless attempts, everyone successfully pulls her back. After that, Sophia also begins her flatlining experiment. With her heart stopping, she returns to high school memories. The classmates who overshadowed her achievements. When she hacked a straight A student's account for revenge, and shared her private photos with the whole class. As her soul is about to return, Sophia sees the straight A student glaring at her with hatred. Suddenly, someone rushes into the lab, since they've been secretly conducting these experiments. Everyone hurriedly flees with the newly awakened Sophia. They manage to escape in a car before security catches up, to celebrate each other's successful experiments. As they go out to celebrate, Courtney suddenly sees her sister in the crowd. She instantly enters a paranormal space. She sees a rundown car in front of her. She goes to look at it. Inside is her drowned sister. Her sister suddenly slaps the car window. The fright makes her stagger back. It turns out that, as a child, her actions caused the vehicle to fall into the water. Although she was rescued, her sister remained underwater forever. She's been feeling guilty about it for years. Meanwhile, Sophia takes Jamie home and they let loose. Ray and Marlo join in as well. They learn something about Marlo's past during the evening. It turns out Marlo had once treated a patient suffering from jellyfish stings. Due to her mistake, the patient died from an overdose. And today's flatlining experiment made her see the deceased again. At this time, Jamie returns to his yacht. Just as he's about to sleep, he hears a woman crying on his bed, and a baby crying too. He follows the sound and finds a baby in a crib. But as he tries to pick up the child, he finds nothing inside. Then Courtney calls. She believes these hallucinations are a side effect of their flatlining experiments. She wants Jamie to come over so they can investigate it together. After returning home, Courtney decides she'll use her phone to record any strange occurrences. Unexpectedly, something weird happens again. Her room starts to flicker. She goes to check and sees her drowned sister. Courtney is horrified. She rushes out of the room, but her sister keeps appearing in front of her. Eventually, Courtney is pushed off a building, leading to her death. The group is shocked upon learning of Courtney's death. The professor begins investigating her death. The group fears the professor will discover their flatlining experiments, so they steal Courtney's phone. They come to a terrible conclusion after watching the videos on her phone. The experiment is amplifying their guilt. Jamie admits he got a waitress pregnant on his yacht, but he chose to abandon her, without taking responsibility. If they can't find a way to absolve their guilt in time, then they might meet the same fate as Courtney, in an attempt to right the past wrongs. Sophia finds the straightest student she hurt back in high school. She feels deep guilt over what happened, hoping the straightest student will accept her apology. Tears stream down both their faces. It's clear how much it hurt her victim. Sophia expresses her sincerest apology. She finally gains forgiveness from the straightest student. Relieved, Sophia's heart feels lighter. Jamie finds the woman he abandoned years ago. To his surprise, his child is already grown. He tells her he's ready to take on his responsibilities as a father. But Marlo finds it hard to look back. It's impossible for her to receive forgiveness from the deceased. Ray believes that to make amends for the dead, she should tell the dean the truth she's hiding. But Marlo is concerned about her future. She finally made it to medical school. She fears the dean will ruin her career if he finds out. In the end, Ray and Marlo argue and go their separate ways. After Ray leaves, Marlo starts being haunted by nightmares. She even experiences hallucinations while driving. The passenger seat belt keeps beeping, but there's no one in the passenger seat. She tries to ignore it. Suddenly, the deceased patient appears in the back seat, reaching towards her, nearly suffocating her. She realizes it's all a hallucination. She decides it's time to end it all. Ray gets her message and realizes something is wrong. He rushes to the lab. By this time, Marlo has put herself into a flatline state. She seeks forgiveness from the dead, but the vision of the deceased does not accept her apology. It grabs her by the neck and pulls her under the water. Meanwhile, in the real world, the others are frantically trying to revive her after 5 minutes, but Marlo still hasn't woken up. Everyone is in despair. At a critical moment, Ray thinks of a way. He decides to inject adrenaline directly into Marlo's heart, although he's not sure it'll work. But he has no other choice. With the help of a defibrillator, Marlo is finally pulled back from her near-death state. Her heartbeat finally returns to normal. Marlo finally comes forward and admits to her medical malpractice. Although she loses her job, it's better than living with the burden of guilt. This is the end of this story. See you next time.